I, 37M, never thought I'd be making a post like this. I always saw myself as a secure husband who trusted his wife, 35F, completely. Now I'm questioning everything about my 12-year marriage and need advice on how to handle this situation. I met Jennifer in college when I was a junior and she was a freshman. She came from a wealthy family while I was attending on scholarships and working part-time jobs. Her parents never approved of me dating their daughter. They had plans for her to marry someone from their social circle, preferably the son of one of her dad's business partners. But Jennifer didn't care about their disapproval. We dated for 3 years and got married right after graduation, despite her parents threatening to cut her off. The early years were tough. I started as an entry-level accountant while Jennifer got a job in tech sales thanks to her natural people skills. Her parents barely attended our wedding and refused to help us financially. We lived in a tiny apartment, struggled with student loans, but we were happy. Eventually, I worked my way up in my firm and Jennifer excelled in her career. We had our son Jack when we were both 27, and our daughter Emma came 3 years later. Over the years, her parents softened a bit, especially after the grandkids came. They still make subtle comments about my modest background at family gatherings, but I learned to ignore them. Jennifer always stood up for me, which made me love her even more. We moved to a nice house in the suburbs, put the kids in good schools, and things were great. I was proud of how far we'd come from that tiny apartment. Jennifer's job involves a lot of traveling to conferences and client meetings. I've always been supportive because she loves what she does and she's really good at it. She's the kind of person who can walk into a room full of strangers and make friends instantly. I'm more introverted and prefer staying home with the kids when she travels. We've had this arrangement for years and it worked well for us. The issue started last month when she went to Chicago for a big tech conference. She's attended this annual conference many times before, usually staying 3 to 4 days. The first day was normal. She called in the morning, sent pictures of her presentation setup, and we had our usual goodnight video call. The second day started normally too, but everything changed with our evening call. I called her around 10 p.m. after putting the kids to bed. She answered the video call and I immediately noticed she seemed nervous, which was unusual for her. During our conversation, I heard a male voice in the background. She quickly said it was just the TV, but then I clearly heard someone say, "Hey Jennifer, the bathroom's free now." The voice sounded young and friendly, too friendly for my comfort. When I asked who was in her room, she got this deer in headlights look. After a moment of awkward silence, she explained that there was a booking mix-up at the hotel. Apparently, they overbooked due to the conference and had to pair up some attendees to share rooms. She got paired with Greg, a 25-year-old sales rep from another company. She claimed the conference organizers assured her it was a normal practice during big events. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife was sharing a hotel room with a man 10 years younger than her, and she hadn't thought to mention this earlier? When I pointed this out, she got defensive and said she didn't tell me because she knew I would overreact like this. She insisted it was just a professional arrangement and that I was being paranoid. The more I think about it, the more things don't add up. Jennifer travels frequently for work and I've never heard of conference attendees being forced to share rooms, especially not with the opposite gender. Also, Chicago has hundreds of hotels. Even if this one was overbooked, surely she could have found another room somewhere else? I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about this Greg person and my wife sharing a room. Were there 2 beds? Was he married? Why didn't she fight this arrangement? The next morning, I called the hotel myself pretending to be interested in booking a room for the conference. Surprisingly, they said they had vacancies. When Jennifer got home, I tried to have a calm discussion about it. I explained that I wasn't angry, just hurt that she wasn't upfront with me. She got defensive again, saying I was trying to control her and that she's not some teenager who needs permission. She insisted nothing happened with Greg and that they barely interacted except for basic roommate courtesy. But I've noticed changes in her behavior since returning from Chicago. She's constantly on her phone but turns the screen away when I come near. She's started working late more often, saying she has to catch up on work she missed during the conference. When I checked her phone, I know I shouldn't have, but I was desperate. All her work emails and messages were deleted. She says she always deletes work communication for confidentiality, but she never did this before. I talked to my best friend Mike about this and he thinks I'm right to be suspicious. He said his wife would never share a room with another man, and he wouldn't share with another woman, regardless of the circumstances. My sister thinks Jennifer is definitely hiding something and suggested I hire a private investigator. Our kids have noticed the tension. Yesterday, Jack asked why mommy and daddy aren't talking much anymore. Emma keeps trying to get us to sit together during family movie night like we used to. It breaks my heart that our kids are being affected by this. I've always prided myself on being a trusting husband. Over 12 years of marriage, I never checked Jennifer's phone or questioned her work trips. But this situation has shaken my trust completely. If she could hide something like this, what else might she be hiding? I need advice. Am I overreacting? Should I keep digging or try to move past this? How do I rebuild trust when my wife doesn't even think she did anything wrong? Edit. Thank you for all the responses. Reading through them now. Some have asked if Greg is married. I don't know, but I'm trying to find out. We'll update when I have more information. Update 1 first. Thank you everyone for the supportive comments on my original post. The past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster, and things have gotten much worse. I followed the advice about checking phone records and doing some investigating, and what I found has destroyed my world. After my last post, I couldn't shake the feeling something was off. Jennifer was still being distant and defensive, constantly taking work calls in another room or the garage. Last weekend, while she was out grocery shopping, I logged into our phone carrier account. What I found made my stomach drop. There were multiple calls to and from a Chicago number, all after 11 p.m., some lasting over an hour. The calls started the day after she returned from the conference and have been happening almost every night. When I reverse searched the number, it belonged to Greg. I documented everything, took screenshots, and spent the next few days observing her behavior. Jennifer would tell me she was going to bed early because of work stress, but I could hear her whispering on the phone in our home office until 1 or 2 a.m. She started doing more video calls too, always with her AirPods in so I couldn't hear the other person. One night, I walked by the office and heard her laughing, not her usual laugh, but that flirty laugh she used to do when we were dating. I decided to confront her last Tuesday. I waited until the kids were at school and asked her about the late night calls. She first tried denying it, claiming they were work-related calls with different clients. When I showed her the phone records specifically showing Greg's number, her whole demeanor changed. She broke down and admitted she and Greg had become good friends during the conference. According to her, nothing physical happened in the hotel room, but they connected on an intellectual level. She said Greg understands her work stress and ambitions in a way I never could. Apparently, they've been texting constantly too, but she deleted all the messages because she knew I wouldn't understand their friendship. But here's where it gets worse. While we were talking, a calendar notification popped up on our shared iPad. Jennifer has planned another trip to Chicago next month. I checked her work calendar and our company's event schedule. I have access because we sync calendars, and there's no official conference or client meeting scheduled. When I asked about this trip, she got flustered and claimed it was a last-minute client meeting that hadn't been added to the system yet. But she couldn't tell me which client or provide any details. She just kept saying I need to trust her and stop controlling her life. I wasn't satisfied with her explanation, so I did something I'm not proud of. I reached out to Sarah, one of Jennifer's coworkers who was also at the conference. I pretended I knew everything and was just trying to understand the timeline. Sarah, thinking she was helping smooth things over, accidentally revealed that there were actually several vacant rooms available that night at the hotel. The whole mix-up story was a lie. Jennifer and Greg chose to share the room. When Sarah realized she'd slipped up, she tried to backtrack, but it was too late. She also mentioned that Jennifer and Greg spent most of the conference together, skipping several sessions to have private meetings about potential collaboration between their companies. No such collaboration has materialized at work. I checked our joint credit card statements next. There are charges from expensive restaurants in our city on evenings when Jennifer said she was working late. Always for 2 people, always at intimate dinner spots. When I asked for receipts or client names, she got angry and said I was crossing a line by monitoring her expenses. The final straw came yesterday. I was doing laundry and found a receipt in her pants pocket for expensive lingerie from the week before her Chicago trip. In 12 years of marriage, she's never worn anything like that for me. When I asked about it, she exploded, saying I was invading her privacy by going through her things. She turned it around on me, claiming my paranoid behavior is pushing her away. I couldn't stay in the house after that. I packed some bags and took the kids to my sister's place. Jennifer has been calling and texting nonstop, switching between angry messages about how I'm destroying our family over innocent friendship and tearful voicemails begging me to come home. She says she'll cut all contact with Greg if that's what I want, but her reaction feels more like she's upset about getting caught than actually being sorry. I told her parents everything, which I never thought I'd do given our rocky history. Surprisingly, they're furious with Jennifer. Her dad called me personally and said that while he may have doubted me as a suitable match for his daughter years ago, he never doubted my character or commitment as a husband. He's disappointed in how Jennifer is handling this situation. The kids are confused and keep asking when we're going home. Jack, being older, seems to understand something is seriously wrong, but Emma just cries and wants her mom. It kills me to see them hurt like this. Last night, Jennifer sent me a long email swearing nothing physical has happened with Greg, but admitting she's been emotionally vulnerable with him. She wants me to come home so we can work things out with marriage counseling. Says she realizes she crossed some lines but doesn't want to lose her family over what she claims is just a close friendship. I don't know what to believe anymore. My gut tells me there's more to this story that I don't know yet. Even if nothing physical happened, which I doubt, the lying and sneaking around feel like cheating to me. Part of me wants to believe her and try to save our marriage for the kids, but another part feels like I'd be a fool to trust her again. For now, I'm staying at my sister's while I figure out next steps. I've consulted a lawyer just to understand my options. Jennifer doesn't know about that yet. I'll update when I have more information. Thank you all for helping me see that I'm not crazy for being suspicious. Edit. Several people asked about Greg's relationship status. I found out he's not married but has a girlfriend in Chicago. I'm debating whether to contact her. Update 2. I wish I was posting with better news, but everything has fallen apart since my last update. The truth finally came out, and it's worse than I imagined. After my last post, Jennifer still went ahead with her Chicago trip despite our ongoing crisis. She claimed she couldn't cancel because it would jeopardize an important client relationship and her job. I knew it was a lie, but I didn't argue. Instead, I called my friend Mike who lives in Chicago and asked him to drive by the client's office she claimed to be meeting. Mike confirmed what I suspected: no meetings were scheduled there. The receptionist had never heard of Jennifer or our company. While this was happening, Jennifer was posting business-related updates on LinkedIn to maintain her cover story. She even sent me photos of her in meetings which I later discovered were old photos from previous trips. Then 2 days ago, everything exploded. I received an anonymous email with an attachment. When I opened it, my world crashed. There were several photos of Jennifer and Greg at different locations in Chicago, at a rooftop restaurant, walking in a park, entering a hotel that wasn't her supposed business hotel. The most devastating photo showed them kissing across a dinner table, and another showed them holding hands while walking. They looked like any other couple in love, except she's married to me and has 2 kids at home. The email was from Greg's girlfriend, now ex, named Ashley. She had grown suspicious of Greg's frequent business calls and hired a private investigator to follow him during Jennifer's Chicago visit. The PI got photos of their entire weekend together. Ashley apologized for being the bearer of bad news but said she would want to know if she were in my position. I forwarded everything to Jennifer's company HR department. I know some might think this was harsh, but Greg is 5 levels below Jennifer in the company hierarchy, and she had recently approved a significant budget increase for his department. The company has strict policies about relationships between seniors and subordinates, especially when financial decisions are involved. Jennifer came home early from her trip after being called into an emergency video meeting with HR. She was hysterical, saying I had ruined her career and destroyed everything she worked for. When I showed her the photos, she finally broke down and admitted everything. The truth came pouring out. Nothing physical happened that first night in the hotel room, but they had intense chemistry and stayed up all night talking. They exchanged numbers and started texting constantly. 2 weeks later, they met secretly when she had a client meeting in our city. The affair became physical then. All those late-night restaurant charges on our credit card? She was meeting Greg when he came to town for business meetings. The lingerie receipt? It was for their Chicago weekend together. She had been planning to end it, she claimed, but kept getting pulled back in by her feelings for him. Her excuses made me sick. She said she felt young and appreciated with Greg, that he reminded her of how she felt in college. She blamed work stress, said I didn't understand her career goals, claimed she was going through some sort of midlife crisis. But not once did she consider what this would do to our kids. I've moved out permanently now and filed for divorce. I couldn't believe it when Jennifer's parents offered to help with my legal fees. Her dad said he'd rather have an honest son-in-law from a modest background than a daughter who threw away her family for an office fling. Her mom has been helping with the kids, who are staying with me most days. The company investigation revealed that Jennifer had approved over $50,000 in questionable expenses for Greg's department in the past month alone. She's been suspended pending a full audit. Greg kept his job but was transferred to their Seattle office. Apparently, he told HR that Jennifer pursued him and he felt pressured because of her position. Whether that's true or not, I don't care anymore. Jennifer's now staying with her sister, who initially defended her until she saw the photos. She keeps sending me long messages about how sorry she is, how she made the biggest mistake of her life, how she'll do anything to fix this. But there's nothing to fix. Our marriage was already dead the moment she chose to share that hotel room with Greg. The kids are struggling, especially Emma. She overheard Jennifer crying to her sister about losing everything for some guy and now thinks it's somehow her fault mom left. We've started them in counseling to help process everything. I've blocked Jennifer on everything except email, which I need for discussing kid-related matters. My lawyer says I have a strong case for a favorable custody arrangement given the circumstances. I'll post one final update when the divorce is finalized. Right now, I need to focus on healing and helping my kids through this mess their mother created. Edit. Thank you for all the supportive messages. To those asking, yes, I've told Greg's current workplace about what happened. They deserve to know who they hired. Update 3. This will be my final update. A lot has happened since I last posted, and I want to give closure to everyone who has supported me through this nightmare. The divorce is proceeding smoothly, largely because Jennifer isn't contesting anything. Her parents' lawyer, who they insisted on providing, has been incredible. We've agreed on joint custody, but the kids live with me during the week and see her on weekends. She wanted 50-50 custody initially, but given her current unstable situation, even her own lawyer advised against it. The fallout from the affair has hit Jennifer hard. The company's investigation revealed deeper issues than just her relationship with Greg. They found evidence that she had approved unnecessary business trips, inflated expense reports, and even created fake client meetings to facilitate their meetups. She was fired last month. The company is considering legal action about the misused funds. Jennifer's now living in her sister's guest house and working a basic sales job at a small local company, quite a fall from her six-figure corporate position. She's been sending me long emotional emails daily, alternating between blaming herself, blaming work stress, blaming her midlife crisis, and occasionally trying to blame me for being emotionally unavailable. I only respond to emails about the kids. Speaking of the kids, they're adjusting better than expected. Jack has started playing soccer, which is helping him channel his anger. Emma still has tough days, but her counselor says she's making progress. They're both doing well in school, though their teachers know to watch for any behavioral changes. Last week, I heard from Ashley, Greg's ex, again. Apparently, Greg is already involved with a junior employee at his new company in Seattle. When Ashley informed Jennifer about this, Jennifer had a complete meltdown at her new job and had to take medical leave. She called me that night, crying about how Greg had used her and destroyed her life. I hung up. My own life has taken some unexpected positive turns. I got promoted at work. Ironically, all the extra hours I put in to distract myself from the divorce paid off. I've started working out regularly and lost 20 pounds. My sister convinced me to join a single parent support group, which has been helpful. I've even been on a few casual dates, though I'm nowhere near ready for a serious relationship. Jennifer's parents have been surprisingly supportive. They still invite me and the kids for Sunday dinners, though Jennifer isn't allowed to attend when we're there. Her dad recently pulled me aside and apologized for how they treated me in the early years of our marriage. He said he wished he had appreciated my stability and commitment sooner. The most difficult part has been watching the kids process everything. Last weekend, Emma asked me if mommy left because she and Jack weren't good enough. It broke my heart. Jennifer missed Jack's soccer game because she was too overwhelmed, which just reinforced their feeling of abandonment. I'm not going to lie, there are moments when I miss the family we were. But then I remember the photos of Jennifer with Greg, the countless lies, the way she prioritized her affair over our children's stability, and I know I'm making the right choice. Some people have suggested I'm being too harsh by not considering reconciliation. But I believe some betrayals you can't come back from. Jennifer didn't just cheat, she systematically lied, gaslit me when I suspected something, risked her career, and neglected our children's emotional needs, all for someone who discarded her the moment something better came along. This will be my last post. We're scheduled to sign the final divorce papers next month. I've blocked Jennifer on all platforms except for our co-parenting app. The kids and I are moving to a new house next month, a fresh start. Thank you, Reddit, for helping me maintain my sanity through all this. Sometimes having strangers validate your feelings is exactly what you need to stay strong. Edit, for those asking, yes, I kept all evidence of the affair and financial misconduct. My lawyer says it might be relevant if Jennifer tries to modify the custody arrangement later.